And I told that this is what I'm going to do. And my father basically said, all right, on that family dinner, said, why won't you hook with Idan, who is my brother, and that had a very small boutique consulting firm for IT. That's how Commit was born. And nowadays, we have 530 employees generating more than 250 million shekels a year, and profitable from the first year, and doing it completely bootstrap. No external investment, no nothing.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Lomitech, and sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and Birthright Excel, and in media partnership with CTech. Welcome to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. Today is all about serial entrepreneurship. Meet Arik Faingold, chairman of ComIT. Arik is an entrepreneur and advisor to startups and capital fund groups, and the president of Commit. He has over 20 years of business development experience in the global technology sector, combined with a vast knowledge of software design, development, and system architecture. Arik successfully completed a number of exits and co-founded several ventures, including Pantera, formerly Sysys, a fully automated self-learning penetration test solution that mimics the hacker's mindset, and Betting Core, which provided gaming platforms and real-time transaction management. Arik Faingold, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for hosting me, Michael.
I'm so honored. I can't believe I have the chance to sit with people like you and get your complete attention for 20 minutes, and I'm going to make use of it as much as I can. Arik, serial entrepreneur, serial founder, executive. You co-founded Betting Corp, Sysys, which is now Pantera, which you had another episode, which is an amazing company, and also the co-founder and chairman and president of Commit, and talking about global development of cutting-edge technologies and providing those services. Before we get to Commit, walk me through what the journey of a serial entrepreneur. Maybe start by talking what it means to be a serial entrepreneur in your mind, because it's pretty amazing.
So I think being serial entrepreneur is basically always focusing on building new things, on trying to find new things that will change, new needs, right, pains in the world that are looking for solutions, and to act upon them. Many of us basically we see pains all of the time, but only few are really acting on it, are making the move. And sometimes, again, being still an entrepreneur, and I don't know everything. I don't know most of the things, right? But it's about finding the right people and the right knowledge that I'm missing, but still identifying the pain in specific markets, right? And looking for the best way to solve it. So that's about serial entrepreneur.
So what I'm hearing you say is when you're approaching a problem, you're looking at it not just as the person who might potentially run through with the problem until the end, but you're looking at it from a higher perspective, a bird's eye view, saying, I'm actually a strategist and I need to put the right people together, and maybe sometimes I am not the right person to lead the company, right?
That's right. You mentioned Pantera. Pantera I established in 2015. Together with Arik Faingold, who is the co-founder, and he is the CTO. And basically this is a company that is the world leader in automated penetration testing. And the pain was obvious that cybersecurity is becoming bigger and bigger problem, and nobody really validates their security posture. Right? Now, I'm not a cyber person, but I realized that there is a problem. So I found, again, I was lucky because I knew Arik from before, right? So I basically approached Arik and said, hey man, you have the knowledge, all right? Let's build something. And that's how Sysys, nowadays called Pantera, been built. And the first 2 years were not just about building the solution, but also building the right team, all right, to lead the company to where it is today. including CEO and VP marketing and VP product and all the functions. Again, I'm not part of those functions, but as a chairman and founder, I had the privilege to build that team.
Incredible. Okay, so we're already in the middle of the journey, but take me back a little bit more. The creation of a serial entrepreneur, what does it mean to go through this journey, both personally and professionally for you, and then we'll reach commit?
So basically, I started back in 2000. So I was 23 years old student in my second year of computer science, and I had an opportunity basically hooking to a business person, right, in my first venture. He was the first one that identified a specific pain, which is a pain for multi-platform gaming. So back then, again, remember 2000, the notion of playing television against PC, against mobile, was kind of, artificial science, etc. So he came with that pain. I was a second year computer science student, and I had the nerve to become a co-founder and CTO of that journey. And in 3 years, building a great product that we managed to sell to leading broadcasters around the world, including BSkyB in the UK and NBC Universal in the US, and sell, that was my first exit at the age of 26, and sell to OpenTV, part of Liberty Media Group in the US. So that's how I became the general manager of OpenTV Israel. And then, in 2008, there was an economic crisis. And OpenTV Worldwide, they were looking for ways to cut costs, but I ran a worldwide P&L there, so they offered to close the Israeli office and to move me and few people to San Francisco. And again, this is being an entrepreneur is all about out-of-the-box thinking. So I came and said, listen, you need to close the office in Israel. Let's close the office in Israel. I will open a new company. All right, that's how Commit was born, and we will get to that in a second, which will be a services company, not a product company, and you will be their first customer, so you will be able to show that you save costs, and you manage to close the office, and I will get my back, my entrepreneurial freedom, in order to build my own company again. And we sat on a Friday night dinner at my grandmother, Savta Ahuva, rest in peace. And I told that this is what I'm going to do. And my father basically said, all right, on that family dinner, said, why won't you hook with Idan, who is my brother, and that had a very small boutique consulting firm for IT, a networking solution, and I come from the software world. Why won't you hook together and you will have a stronger services company? And that's what we did on that dinner. That's how Commit was born, and nowadays, we are 530 employees, generating more than 250 million shekels a year, and profitable from the first year, and doing it completely bootstrap. No external investment, no nothing. So that's how we got, and in 2015 we spoke about Pantera.
I don't know many people that are starting a company by having their first customer signed before the company is even born. I think that's pretty remarkable, especially for the time when it was. This is not 2021 where you have a proliferation of design partners and then people are trying out these different SaaS products. Here you're having a company that is providing services which requires reputation, requires brand, requires time, relationships. And you have it, and you got it. What is Commit, in the strategy way of thinking?
So Commit, firstly, is a services company. It's a technology powerhouse, right? It's a company again, as an entrepreneur that likes to build things, it's all about, building dreams. So if you have a vision, right, if you have a dream, we will build it for you. There are a lot of entrepreneurs that are around the world that are not technological people, that are not technology people, right? They have a dream, they have a great idea, they notified a pain point, right? and they need someone to hold their hand and be able to make it happen, right? To build whatever product or platform that they need. And this is what Commit is all about. On top of that, it's about making it very cost effective. Again, in 2008, I had my second degree, an executive MBA in Tel Aviv University. And in operation schools, right, we learned that in high-tech, in the technology companies, there is more than 40% waste, right, of basically, hours that are basically being lost. Either because people are just sitting around and or doing nothing, or that they're actually doing things that are not really what the company or the product or the project needs, right? And and I learned that, and I made my own research and realized that it's a minimum 40% waste. Some companies it gets to 70 and 80% because of the nature of building a high-tech platform. Today, when you build a high-tech platform and a high-tech product, you need many different disciplines. You need front-end engineers, back-end engineers, QA engineers, product people, cyber people, cloud people, DevOps, big data, data platforms, etc., etc. Now, the typical journey is that you recruit everybody in-house, but the truth of the matter is that you don't really need all of them all the time, and they're waiting for each other. And the real truth of the matter is that, especially when you're a startup, that you don't have a lot of money. When you're at the early stages, you want to build your MVP, go to the product, and cut your burn, right? Cut the bleeding. Get the real feedback from the market, and then move to the second phase. So that's how we came with our notion of flexible R&D, which basically solved the problem. Think about it like a cloud of people that we can manage a project and product, and we can bring in and out from our powerhouse of 530 people of multidisciplines, the right people at the right time in order to get your product out there on time, on budget, without the waste.
Incredible. What have you learned over the last 13 years of providing these services? The world has changed. Organizations have changed. Organizations have both matured, but they've also become much younger because we've had a proliferation of younger entrepreneurs that are starting out companies. What have you been learning, looking at it from a bird's eye view, about how the world of R&D is shifting?
So, first of all, the world of R&D became decentric than ever, all right? And especially in the last year and a half because of COVID. Okay, so everything goes to the cloud. So if back in the old days, you needed all the engineers in the same room, or at least in the same building, working really close to each other in order to be productive, nowadays, it's obvious that, the fact that you and me, we might be living in the same town or the same city, but in the last year and a half, most of the time, we communicated in Zoom. And we worked on the cloud. So for developers nowadays, the R&D became very global, right? So you can see it on offshore. You see, global engineers from Ukraine and India working together with Israeli engineers, working together with US-based engineers. So it became really, really global, and you can do everything from remote. And therefore, it's all about how you really manage the team, and how do you get the right talent worldwide, not just looking, at your own city.
Right. And with Commit, what common threads are you seeing with the people that are leveraging Commit's power of R&D? So what types of problems are more common to be solved using a global service company like Commit rather than internal R&D?
Today, especially, the biggest problem that everybody trying to solve is the lack of manpower, basically. So, all right. So people are trying to get good talent, and it's very, very hard. So the fact that I have few hundred people that we control and we can move them around in a very flexible way, that's the first biggest problem, which is time to market and ability to scale. And the second biggest problem is really about the know-how, all right? And the know-how, it's on the niche areas. So it might be that you just establish a company and you have a very good, you said, you come from a machine learning and artificial intelligence background. So this is an excellent background, all right? And you might be able to be in the company that you will establish. That will be the core, right? But now you need a mobile interface, right? Now, being a great machine learning developer, I'm not so sure, how great a machine learning developer is about building a mobile interface. So it's about getting the best mobile interface developer in order to build the best mobile platform that will basically reveal the logic and the magic.
I love it. I think what I'm still pondering about is what you said about this idea of scale, this question of we're starting out with a project, we're going to need to grow this project. Once we figure out our POC is working, we want to scale. Our time to market is really crucial, and hiring is almost impossible, even if you do have the money, right? And we're seeing it. But having the flexibility through a company like Commit, who's providing the service that can just, shift people around because you have hundreds of people, I think that's really, really interesting. And where are we heading from here? If you're looking 3-4 years down the line, where do you think we're heading as either, R&D organizations or generally company speaking?
I think that R&D organizations will become more and more global. The trend started a few years ago, but in the last year and a half became, extremely massive. And I think that we will see it growing bigger and bigger, from a global perspective. I think that we'll see a trend about really, and there is opportunities of building tools, right? There are some good tools out there, but there will be a need to better tools because now, you have different cultures, different time zones, different geographies that needs to cooperate with each other more than ever. So there is an opportunity there. And I believe, if you ask me, in a few years, I think that big part of what we will do, what the developers are doing, will be done by the machine. Right? We will see a new trend of machine learning coding, right? That will do a lot of the stuff, and that's something for the developers to remember. All right, that's why they need to keep the edge.
Arik, this was so great. I have a few last questions, but they're back to you, and I want to take you back all the way to your childhood. And I want you to tell me what fascinated you as a kid before you thought about being a serial entrepreneur.
As a kid, I got my first computer, Atari, when I was I think it was in the 5th grade. And it fascinated me that suddenly I can play a game on the screen. Right, so it started with, hey, how fun! It's great fun. But then it came to, how do I do that? Right, so I started to learn how to build the games. But once I learned how to build games, I realized that you can build more than games. You can build many different things and almost any idea. So that fascinated me, and that's how.
What inspires you today? You've working on a lot of different things, and I'm expecting a few more amazing things to come from your mind in the next years. What inspires you on a daily basis?
I think that what inspires me, it's all about building things, right? And again, I'm looking at giants. Elon Musk and the real big giants that are really breaking, that are looking to Mars and are looking to the space and looking to solve, huge problems. And some of the entrepreneurs that I'm working with, so it's about the fact that, every day there are new things and the world is changing and there are basically no limits. and exploring those no limits.
So what I'm hearing you say that
inspires me.
the serial entrepreneurism, it's not a profession, it's a characteristic that you just have. It's a part of who you are.
It's a bug, it's a disease. It's a passion.
Arik, what are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
Entrepreneur, curious, and founder.
What's the difference?
Or starter, or no, so entrepreneur, curiosity, and building teams.
I love it. Arik, toda rabba. This was so enjoyable. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very, very much.